Hey guys, how's it going? Jim here. Today we're going to be doing a part 2 on how to get yourself ready for Legacy, and this is just going to be all about how to use Legacy, because I know that those instruction manuals are very long, and honestly it's more interesting to watch someone do it and have visual demonstrations. So I am currently running cab version 1.3, and then the base is the same. The only reason I'm that far behind is because Lionel stopped supplying modules to update it, and I don't have a Windows 7 computer, and Lionel has not had a chance to update their software, so that way you could use them like a Windows 10. So that means I'm going to have a few less features, but that's mostly for the much newer locomotives, like the SD60Es, which are over there. And then there's a couple bugs here and there, which you have to be aware of. But I'll point those out later on in the video. Starting out, I'm going to show you what everything does on the remote. So first off, let's say we just punched in the number. You have buttons down here. You got cab light, got speed limit, which once you're moving, I'll show you how to do that. This is the off, or this is the shutdown sequence without crew talk, and then this is the startup. You could just tap it for just a no crew talk startup, or you could hold it for a crew talk startup.
Dispatcher here. Do you copy? Over. Roger that. Please start up and stand by for track orders. Copy that, dispatcher. We'll get up and running. Out.
Alright, so to turn the volume up here, which I always do when I'm making videos, just hit this button here. It's a touch screen. It is a touch screen, so you don't have to press anything like you would have to press buttons on the TMCC. Alright, so there's a bunch of crew talk sounds, so you could you hit aux 1, you'll get the not clear to go.
Can I get a green light? Over. Negative. Hold your position. Over. Yes, sir. Standing by. Out.
And if you hit it without pressing it,
Can I get a clear signal? Over. Yes, you are good to go. Over. That's great. Thank you, sir. Out.
here's the RPM up and down. Volume down here. You got the tower comm talking first.
Dispatcher here. Take the green. Over. Copy that. Out.
And if you press aux 1,
Dispatcher here. Please hold your track orders. Over. Understood. Sitting here looking for a green light. Out.
and then you got your smoke buttons. This is on, this is off, and you got low, medium, and high. You got the reset button, and if you hold the reset button,
Dispatcher, we've got a full tank. Over. Roger that. Out.
and then we have Rule 17 lighting, which dims the headlight when you're stopped. That's off. That's on, so you could hold it for auto. You turn it off so that it's always bright, or you can control it just by pressing the button. Just hold it, put back on auto. And I'm going to go over the features here. So you got the speed settings. So you got momentum, low, medium, which is adjustable, and high, which is the equivalent of 8. You have the couplers, front and rear. You got the direction, which is if you push, brake if you pull back, boost if you push forward. You got the train link, which I'll demonstrate that later. You got the horn, which is in 3 levels. 1, 2, 3. And then you can just push the bell button up for single dings and hold it for continuous. And this is the train brake, which will slow the train or hold the train at constant speed. and increase the labor. Okay, if you hit this speed button, you can go to the second page, which will give you different speeds.
Dispatcher here. Please go to restricted speed. Over.
I'm going to put the train brake on so it stops. And then if you hold it,
Dispatcher
if
here.
you hold
Please
each
go
button,
to
it'll
slow
give you
speed.
different
Over.
crew talks.
Copy that. Increasing to slow speed. Out. Dispatcher here. Please go to medium speed. Over. Copy that. Increasing to medium speed. Out. Dispatcher here. Please go to limited speed. Over. Roger that. Increasing to limited speed. Out. Dispatcher here. Please go to normal speed. Over. Roger that. Increasing to normal speed. Out. Dispatcher here. Roger that. Increasing to maximum onboard speed. Out.
And this is the roll speed, which decreases the labor, which I'll show you in just a second, and it brings it back to the first RPM setting. These three buttons here don't change. They are the crew talk and then the smoke. So let me just get it stopped here. So this bar here is the labor. So if you do this, the labor goes up. If you do this, the labor goes down, which makes the engine sound like it's working harder. It's much more noticeable on the steam locomotives, but I'll demonstrate that in a little bit. And most later legacy locomotives have this thing called sequence control. So if you hold the aux 1 key, it'll play all the sounds for you, so you don't have to do a thing except for move this wheel.
Dispatcher, we are on the move. Over. Copy that. Have a good run. Out.
Alrighty, so let's shut it down. So you either have this button to shut it down, or you have this button. I'm going to use this one right here.
Go to sign a register book. Out.
And then I'm going to move over to the steam locomotive. And I'm just going to fire it up without crew talk. Turn it up a little bit. Now with the steam engine, it's got a little bit different features. So you got the blow-off valve, or I'm sorry, the water fill.
My water's full. Over. Roger that. Out.
And then you have the blowdown. And then this is the marker lights. And each locomotive is different what it'll have here. Some have an aux 3 key. That's usually for like a pantograph or something like that. So let me just turn it off and on, off and on. It's very simple and very easy to operate. Same thing in here. So now I'm going to actually show you the difference in sound if you use the labor and if you don't. Just make sure the momentum's good. Alright, now I'm going to stop. I'm going to change direction. And I'm going to turn the labor all the way down. And forwards. Like I said, it works with all locomotives, but it's much more noticeable on the steam locomotives. One thing I forgot to mention, this aux 2 key kills all the lights except for the number boards, which are lit whenever there's track power. So it kills all the lights instantly. This button is the all stop, so if you're running 3 or 4 trains on your layout and you have an incident, you just hit this button, everything comes to a stop. Okay, so if you want to build a train, first you gotta get the locomotives put together, and you can either pick that up or you could back the engine up to the other. Now we're gonna go in the legacy remote, hit info, build, and you can put the engine numbers in, 68, add, and then you can put 79, which is 513, direction, and then there's a few keys here, which is train link, the sound, which locomotive has master sound, which locomotive will be the lead locomotive, or I should say the locomotive that will produce all the crew talk and everything. So I'm going to do train link for 513, and all you gotta do is hit set. And it'll make that sound. It'll say train created, and you're ready to go. So with these locomotives, these have ditch lights, so you can turn them always on when you're moving. You turn them to turn ditch light on, pulse off. That's actually pulse on. Ditch light off, pulse on, so that means it'll stay off when it's running, and then it'll pulse when you blow the horn. Ditch light off completely. I like to have it where the ditch lights are on and then they pulse. So we have that. Rule 17. Everything's the same. So we're just gonna back the train up a little bit, and then move in unison. Stop them there. Just bring her forward real slow. And then we have train link. So I press this little train link button, and that sound is coming out of 513. So let's do that again. So when you're driving the train, the lights and everything will flash on whichever direction you're going. But if you're going forward with, let's say, 507, hit the train link button, the lights will come on, which is a little inconvenient, but that's all it is. And when you have a train link, this is locomotive 1. If I had multiple locomotives, I could select train link 2, train link 3, train link 4, and train link 5. Okay, so there is a record feature on this, so if you just press and hold this record button, recording. So I'm just going to go in here, start the DD35 up, and it'll show that it's recording with these little bars at the end here, and these little icons up top. And this recording will record all the switches and everything if you're using it through the legacy remote. Which switches are thrown with the aux1 and aux2 key if you have them wired into a separate box. So I'm just going to do a quick little lap here, and once the train comes back around, I'll stop and I'll hit play, and I'll do the exact same thing. And even down to the horn and the crew talk. And we're having a little bit of issues here with the locomotive and its and the power supply, because unfortunately there's not enough power to have all 3 of these locomotives and that one on the track with these passenger cars. But you get the idea. You hit the button again to play back, and when you get that little flashing light over there, if it's just one, that means it's just a motor failure, and most of the time that's just you hit the reset button and it's all good, and that's usually just because there's a lack of power. And that could be due to loss or not enough power, or to dirty track, or it could be the dirty pickup rollers, or your motors could actually be getting too warm and you need to stop the train. And if you have that, and if you're concerned that that's your problem, you just reach alongside the body and find the motor. If it's warm, I'd like to sit out for a few minutes on a non-powered track. Now let's do a little bit of run-bys, and I'll leave you guys with that. And thank you guys for 300 subscribers. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.